So what's been happening? Did anyone else see the terrifying attack on King Charles?
A man has been arrested after appearing to throw eggs at the King and the Queen Consort while they were on a walkabout in York.
They'd arrived for a civic greeting. But this wasn't the welcome to York they'd expected. 4 eggs flung at the King.
It is so British. In America, they got guns. Here, get down! He's got an egg! I don't know why they were worried. If they hit his fingers, it would have looked like a delicious breakfast. But the news lost their mind. They even showed it in slow motion.
Slowed down, you can see how close some of the eggs came to hitting their intended target.
Protect the King. They're trying to turn him into an omelette. No. They took it so seriously. I'm surprised they didn't do this interview.
Can you explain what it was like to be right in the heart of the attack on the King?
No, I'm an egg.
So silly. The papers were just as bad. King Charles's brave remarks after being pelted with eggs revealed. And what were these words of courage? Everything all right? He couldn't give a shit. The only way he could have been less bothered would have been if he pointed at the eggs and went, "Look, Camilla, the floor's messier than my relationship with Harry." So, how did the police deal with the suspect? A hefty fine? Prison sentence? Nope. Student who pelted King and Queen banned from carrying eggs in public. Only in this country. In some parts of the Middle East, he'd lose his hands. Here, he's not allowed to take his breakfast for a walk. Do you know who I feel sorry for? The policeman who has to check. Can you imagine him down the station, just on a drug bust, you?
Followed a student around Tesco.
It's so British. It's nearly as British as what the audience in Birmingham did when Kendrick Lamar started his concert late.
He's having a shit. He's having a shit. Kendrick Lamar. He's having a shit.
Now, in political news, another tough week for the Tories.
The government insists that the Deputy Prime Minister, Dominic Raab, values civil servants after claims that he was rude to staff.
Not only is he rude, he's also pathetic. Look at this. He was accused of chucking 3 Pret a Manger tomatoes in a fit of rage. It's the most middle-class assault ever. Step back or I'll turn you into a bruschetta. Mind you, the news was shocked. Apparently, they interviewed someone who was in the room.
Can you explain what it was like to be right in the heart of Dominic Raab's attack?
I don't know. I'm a fucking tomato. Incredibly, it's not just Dominic Raab. Did you hear about Gavin Williamson?
Cabinet Minister Sir Gavin Williamson steps down over allegations of bullying.
So, did he call someone a snowflake? Leave a passive-aggressive note?
He's reported to have told a civil servant to slit their throat and jump out of a window.
Wow. Now, not only is that shocking, it's impossible.
How to open a window.
There's more. Look how he dealt with civil servants.
Sir Gavin said,
Always tell them to off, and if they have the to come and see me, jumped up civil servants.
Fucking civil servants. They should shoot themselves in the face and then give themselves a Chinese burn. He's an absolute maniac. Did you hear what he had on his desk?
This is a man who, when he was chief whip himself, was known as the baby-faced assassin. He had an actual whip on his desk, as well as a pet tarantula.
Is he in fucking Slytherin? I mean, Christ, check out the spider's name. He called it Cronus.
We must bide our time, Cronus. For soon the Dark Lord will return.
What makes all these bullying accusations even worse is that 2 years ago, Gavin made this video.
This week, Anti-Bullying Week, is a chance to thank schools and teachers for everything they do to make the classroom a safe place for every child to thrive. Bullying is never acceptable.
Bullying is never acceptable.
This is a civil servant and your spider longs for their muggle blood.
Such a piss take, isn't it? Here's how that advert should have looked.
Bullying is never acceptable. Every school must have anti-bullying policies in place so that no pupil fears coming to school or working online. We can make sure every child grows up feeling confident and free to be themselves and stamp out bullying.
Thank you, madam. Yes! Mind you, it's not just Gavin. His colleagues are just as mad.
A group of whips so disliked him that they had a discussion about whether they could come in early one morning, release the pet tarantula and stamp it to death.
Is everyone involved in politics a psychopath? I'm not a massive fan of Piers Morgan. I don't want to headbutt his budgie. Also, didn't Rishi say this 3 weeks ago?
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
Integrity? You're surrounded by tomato flingers, throat slitters and spider stampers. And it doesn't stop there. Earlier this year, the Tories put forward a council candidate called John T. Campbell, who said, possibly the creepiest thing I've ever heard. Girls smell better at 16 than at 28. A, why would you say that? B, how do you know? Oh, she's 29. Feed her to the spiders. Can it get creepier? Yes, it can. He said girls aged between 16 to 23 have a buttery, sweet smell. You're right. They're women, not margarine. Oh, they're utterly. I can't believe I'm not on a register. There's more, man. He describes their smell as unbelievably magnetic. The only thing magnetic should be the tag on his ankle. Yep. It's so shocking. But it's not surprising. Did you know at a Downing Street Christmas party, they handed out a Sexist of the Year award? It's ridiculous. We've actually got hold of the nominees.
The nominees for Sexist of the Year are Boris Johnson for presiding over a culture of misogyny in number 10, Dominic Raab for calling feminists obnoxious bigots, Boris Johnson for allowing a domestic abuse bill to be dropped, Neil Parish for watching pornography in the House of Commons, Boris Johnson for abstaining from Westminster votes on abortion, Boris Johnson for referring to women using their husband's name, Boris Johnson for talking about women's breasts, Boris Johnson for looking... Can we just accept that Boris has won this?